10 speedrunners who were caught cheating is my most viewed video, so in honor of 10 million views, here are 10 more. We're gonna lead with this because this is personally my favorite on the list. Gerber, I don't know how you say that, AKG, claimed to set multiple Turok records a few years ago. The way he cheated was quite simple, he just spliced footage together. He got called out in several videos. In one it was shown he had no backpack, which limits his grenade count to 20, but he was able to pick up 27 grenades and then fire off 30, so that made it pretty clear this wasn't a legit run. Gerber responded by deleting videos in question and threatened to take down videos that exposed him with fraudulent DMCA claims. I don't believe he followed through with these threats, but we'll see others on this list who did. His channel, which has since changed its name, still has one Turok run posted that I could find. When I found it, the first thing I saw was this amazing opening slide. Please pause the video and read this before watching. If you're about to see this video to the end, I suggest you turn on your console, start the video, and play the game at the same time to realize how fast this speedrun is. It will leave you 10 minutes behind without any exaggeration. This is a world record speedrun. The previous world record was done by the Cryptic Jackknife, and his time was 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 24 seconds. But as you can see, I smoked him easily, because my time is 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 8 seconds. But he lied about his time, because I calculated it. By the way, I smoked him earlier. My speedrun is recorded in HD, which is #1 priority. So don't waste your time and turn your console and try to challenge me only for curiosity. If you don't want to challenge me, then get a cold Rockstar energy drink, click HD, stay back, and relax. For those who tried to challenge me, please tell me the time difference. Thanks. If you want another spear done, suggest a game. And then right after reading that, I look at the description, which says this was a segmented speedrun, which was just done for fun and is nothing special. So which is it? Is this a segmented run just for fun, or did you smoke the world record? It seems like he changed his story here. The people who outed him did a great job documenting everything, so if you want to see more evidence and read more conversations, I'll put those in the description, but it's just too painful to go through on video. Next up, we have LoansharkJoe's fake Ghost and Goblins run. LoansharkJoe made a video about his fake run, so some of you are probably already familiar with this. He created a tool-assisted speedrun and submitted it as if it were a normal speedrun. He submitted this emulator run in a category which requires you to play on console, so they should have ruled it out within seconds of watching it. In the bottom corner of his run, you can see a red arrow which is left over from the task software he used, and within the run itself, there were several sections of play which seemed inhuman. This submission is so poorly faked to the point of it being comical, yet it somehow was able to get verified as the second best speedrun of the game. LoansharkJoe made a video explaining all of this. He explained every way that it was apparent that he had cheated, and he ended the video by deleting the fake run from the leaderboards. Now, what did the moderators do in this case? After all of this came out, they permanently banned him from the leaderboards. Now, I'm not defending what he did, but I do think we should reserve the most extreme punishments for the most extreme violations. In this case, I really do not think this guy is likely to cheat again. He came clean before even getting caught and removed the run himself. And the run was so bad it shouldn't have even been up there in the first place. I don't think the moderators watched this run for a single second or they never would have approved it. And again, I'm not saying it's good he submitted a fake run, but I think we should reserve permanent bans for people who cannot be trusted at all. Someone who's been called out and continues to lie. That is not this case. He deleted the run himself. He displayed all the mistakes for the world to see. This should only serve to strengthen verification standards. It's much better for it to be this guy than someone else. Imagine if someone else came in, created a well-faked speedrun, and they didn't admit to it. They surely would have gotten away with it. Now I just have to tell you all the legend of Kevin Durden. The Phantasy Star series is a range of RPGs released from 1987 onwards. This guy Kevin Durden impressively came up and in a pretty short amount of time managed to snag the Phantasy Star 1 record, the Phantasy Star 4 record, and then the Phantasy Star 3 record. On April 7th, Kevin Durden was removed from the Phantasy Star leaderboards on the grounds that he had cheated. What has followed has been nothing short of magical. The investigation began on March 27th when a report came to the Phantasy Star moderators that the most recent record by Kevin Durden seemed to contain certain oddities. They followed up with a thorough investigation, which has been summarized in these two reports. They contain lots of evidence, which was enough to convince me, but maybe not everyone else. The final nail that put this issue to rest is the undisputable video evidence of splicing. As documented by Cyan Veo, you can see a point where this small ring jumps in size and this text box cuts back and forth. Both of these clearly indicate a splice point. Now Kevin's responses throughout this whole thing got progressively more erratic. This pastebin was one of his first statements that he released when this all started going down, and it's filled with classic signs of deception. He doesn't argue the point, he doesn't say this is an outrage, these claims are completely false, which would be an innocent person's response. Instead, he admits there are technical inconsistencies in his runs and offers willingly to have them removed and redo them. This is not how an innocent person acts when accused. This is a strategy of a guilty person to try to seem more reasonable. So as everything began to crumble, he concocts this brilliant plan, just genius. He starts by pulling the plug and deleting everything, his Twitch VODs, his YouTube videos, his Reddit account, all of it. Then this absolute stranger comes into his Discord and says he downloaded the runs in question before Kevin removed them. This absolute stranger then posts an edited version of his record with certain inconsistencies edited out. It seems pretty clear that this guy deleted everything and then attempted to repost an edited version as some random stranger to regain everyone's trust. Do you really think that was gonna work, man? Come on, you gotta give it up. And now after all of this has happened, Vice actually ended up running a strange article. I can't say for certain this article is about Kevin. All they say is that someone whose name has been changed cheated in a Japanese RPG. I guess whoever they were talking to would only do so on certain conditions, and so they wrote an article about how some guy cheated in some game without explaining any of it. A bizarre conclusion to this bizarre story. I had to include this on the list, if nothing else for how funny it is. This guy LeeSDA was found to have faked multiple runs by creating tool-assisted speedruns and playing them back on stream as if he were playing live. He went all out, displaying one run live with Carl Sagan and Trihex watching, two very experienced players who were both impressed with Lee's play.
He got it! Holy how are you even doing? What the f is going on? I'm not ready for this run, Lee!
The neutral, dude. The neutral in that foam is so good. I'm like, alright, that's like one of my secret strats. Neutral in that in that vertical foam set.
See that this is not you playing Cass right now.
I know, you didn't.
At some point later on, Carl suspected something was up and told Lee to duck during this auto-scroller to show that it was really him playing. Lee refused, which should have signaled to Carl that something was up, but still nothing happened. Lee eventually took his shenanigans one step further and included a camera on his stream, pointed at his hands as he faked the button presses for his tasks. This is what really sunk his ship in the end, when moderator MT picked apart one of Lee's runs and showed the hand cam did not match the gameplay. For example, watch here as Yoshi begins to turn left without Lee's finger even pressing the button. Then Yoshi turns right again before turning back around and heading left, which Lee does mimic on the controller. That's two inputs, a left and a right input, which seemingly come out of nowhere. This resulted in Lee getting his runs removed, and eventually he apologized. It seems sincere to me, and I don't think he'll do it again. Close to a year ago, a runner named Auntie was permanently banned from submitting any GTA speedrun to speedrun.com and had all of his times removed from the leaderboards. What did he do to deserve such a punishment? There had been rumors of Auntie cheating for a long time, but it all began to unwind when someone with the username ROK24 posted this video pointing out some major discrepancies within Auntie's Vice City runs. He found that some of Auntie's vehicles would create a puff of smoke as they first accelerated. This is not normal, and ROK showed that this happens if you increase the value which determines the vehicle's acceleration. He also created this side-by-side comparison where you can see Auntie's car on the left is moving much quicker than the one on the right, which is unmodified. Here you can see another side-by-side created, which shows one of Auntie's runs on the top left, a legitimate run on the top right, and a tool-assisted speedrun at the bottom. You can see Auntie flies past the tool-assisted speedrun with ease because his vehicle has clearly been sped up. Auntie admitted this much and pretended to come clean in a paste spin, which he admitted to a handful of his runs being fake. He claimed that he had begun cheating at the beginning of 2018 because of how burnt out he was with the game. It was later found out that Auntie had not been honest in this paste spin, and that the true list of fake speedruns was much more extensive than he had admitted, starting at least a year and a half before he originally said. This is what got him a permanent ban from the series, as clearly his times could not be trusted, as the runner himself could not even recall which ones were real.
What do I press to get tire smoke? Every time you get on your PCJ? I don't know what you mean. Tire smoke.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories is a game which has been especially prone to cheaters. This is because at the end of these duels, or whatever you call them, you're given a random card, and the card you get can either make or break the run. You can go into the game file, and with a little work, you can edit these drop rates, and there's no obvious indication that you've done so. but there are still inconsistencies that can be spotted by experts in the game. A few years ago, a runner named Mergy was caught altering these values when a glitched 000 card appeared at the end of a level. This can happen when the values for the drops don't add to 2048.
What? Did you... Excuse me? Did you guys just... Can someone highlight that? Can someone shot that? Odd shot? Or whatever?
This is pretty funny because his reaction seems genuine. I think it was genuine. I really think he had no idea why this happened. I can only imagine what it must have felt like when he realized why that card appeared. Now fast forward to just a few days ago when moderator and top player GFC made this post to r/speedrun accusing Brazilian speedrunner Kavira Games of doing something similar to what Mergy had done years earlier. He explained how some of his cards did not match the values paired with them on screen. This is another indication of changed drop chances. Kavira responded to this by making the video unlisted. So he takes the video down, an indication that he may be guilty, but he still lets me download it and verify the claims for myself. It's an odd defense, but I'll take it. Here you can see him receive the Beast Fangs with the card number 129. But if we look into the deck, number 129 is Nemoriko. As stated before, this can happen when altering drop chance values. After GFC unearthed this evidence, Kavira sent his viewers to bombard GFC with dislikes and negative comments, trying to get him to back down, but he didn't. GFC showed the same moment on his own stream, trying to convince these people, and was promptly hit with an illegal DMCA claim from Kavira. Showing a few seconds of someone's stream to explain how it is they cheated is like the definition of fair use. And if you file a DMCA claim because your feelings are hurt, that is illegal, and that only serves to make the story 10 times bigger. Go ahead and file a claim against me as well. I'll file a counterclaim, win, and I'll make another video all about it, so feel free. House of Caravan is a game released in 2015 for PC, and it can be beaten in under 12 seconds. Believe it or not, some have chosen to put quite ridiculous amounts of time into optimizing this nearly instant run in a game that isn't that popular. Even more amazing is that over a year ago, someone with the tag Third Nugget submitted a fake record for this category. Penguin Zero made a video showing how Third Nugget both spliced and sped up his footage by showing a side-by-side comparison of both of their runs. Thankfully, Third Nugget's run didn't stand long, and order was promptly restored to the universe. Next up, the age-old case of Bandit 5K. On sourceruns.org, you'll find a summary of this incident. What happened was a group of Half-Life 2 runners got together and decided to create a segmented run between them. A segmented run meaning they would each replay their segments until they got a time they were happy with, and then put the whole thing together as one run. Of course, this is a perfectly legitimate way to create a speedrun, so long as you're clear about what it is from the beginning. Each runner created their segment, and when they put all the segments together, they believed they had a run faster than anyone had ever created. But what they weren't counting on was Bandit 5K's fake segment invalidating the whole thing, but that's what happened. A lot of this segment is questionable in general. One might suspect by the way the mouse moves with such fast and precise movements that there's some trickery going on here. But the important part here is this wall climb. The YouTube channel BitRain posted this video showing the wall climb in real time, and now here it is next to Bandit 5K's submission. I don't know a whole lot about speedrunning this game, but it seems like everyone who does says this is just not realistic for a human. But it is realistic if you slow down the frame rate, which can be done using the timescale function in-game. You get your insane run at 30% of the normal frame rate, and then you speed up the demo or recording or whatever it was they were using, and then pass it off as live play. That's what Bandit 5K did, which was a bummer because it didn't just invalidate his own work, but also a lot of legitimate work from others. As I was doing research for this video, I found this post made in 2010 on doomworld.com by someone named KimoXVirus, who came out and said he cheated, giving a list of demos which were not legitimate. Yes, as the title says, I did cheat in some of my non-task demos here. Sorry for that, guys. I did not want to cheat in my runs. I was regretting mistakes at the end terribly and changed the last parts of the runs with my excuse of, I could have done it, but I really shouldn't have done that. Everyone must have had bad moments too. That never did make me satisfied and always left me sad and concerned for being dishonest. Maybe there was some outside pressure prompting this that he's not telling us about, but either way, I believe what he said about thinking, I could have done it. I think that's a really common thing among cheaters. I do not believe the majority of cheaters come into the community planning on deceiving people. They come in, they usually put a good amount of time into their game and get decent at it, and then something happens. They die at a crucial point, or their game crashes, or their power goes out, and they say to themselves, I deserved that run. I could have gotten that time. The way I lost that run was completely unfair. I'm just gonna give it to myself. And that's it. Once someone has done something like that and gotten away with it, they're very likely to do it again. They have a few more scenarios like that. They give themselves a few more runs, and before you know it, it becomes a habit, and there's usually no stopping it until that person gets caught. Now to wrap up the video, I'd like to talk about what happened with DowntimeDeath. In A Link to the Past, during the second phase of the Ganon fight, he'll spawn these rings of fireballs. The spawn pattern and firing order varies in a way which appears random in-game. However, it was later found that this is not based on a random number generator at all, but rather it is determined by factors of the Armos fight earlier in the run. When this was discovered, a runner named DowntimeDeath was found to have fireball spawns which did not match what they should have been based on earlier segments. There's lots of great documentation on this incident, including this Google Doc, which you should go read for yourself if you want to understand exactly how the moderators figured this out. The reason I wanted to put this on the list wasn't so much to talk about how DowntimeDeath spliced runs. I've already spoken lots about people doing that. But it was to point out how this guy got away with it for such a long time because he was close friends with many in the community. WQ made over an hour-long video showing how DowntimeDeath had cheated and how those around him had protected him in the face of clear evidence. I've got nothing but love for WQ, but I can understand how someone just taking a glance at this would see this guy going into way too much detail to prove how some guy cheated in a nearly 30-year-old game and say, this guy's crazy, he's just making this all up. But if you go look at the evidence for yourself, you'll see he was right the whole time. This was something I personally had written off when it was just in my peripheral, and that's why I included it in this video, because I think it's an important lesson that we should always evaluate claims based on the evidence and not the person making them. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed. If you want to support the channel and help me make more videos, consider becoming a channel member. In addition to a badge which will appear next to your name in the comments, you'll get access to a live stream I do on the first Sunday of every month where I show different speedruns I've done, have guests on, and engage with as many comments as possible. That's it. I love you all. See ya.